Pitbulls, a family's nightmare or gentle giant. The truth, while surprising, is not what you think it is. Starting off, Pitbull isn't a breed. The only dog with this term in their name is the American Pitbull Terrier, though that dog is classified as a terrier. Pitbull is actually a blanket term for dogs that commonly have muscular builds, blocky heads, and shorter snouts. Breeds that fit this description include boxers, American Staffordshire Terriers, American Bulldogs, American Bully, Staffordshire Bull Terrier, and Rottweilers. The AKC's official website only lists 4 dog breeds as, quote, Pitbull-type breeds, end quote, including the Staffordshire Terrier, American Pitbull Terrier, American Bully, and American Staffordshire Terrier. While there is no official statement as to whether this is or is not the case, it has been stated that in the 1900s, Pitbulls were, quote, nanny dogs, end quote, due to their excellence with children and humans in general. This may very well have been true, as Pitbulls today are known as faithful, loving, loyal, and human-oriented. Often, these dogs are eager to please or spend time with their families. Contrary to popular belief, pit bulls cannot lock their jaws. In fact, lockjaw doesn't have anything to do with biting. The disorder known as lockjaw is caused by the dog becoming infected after contamination by a bacteria, which causes a dog to lose its ability to control their jaws. What people consider a dog locking its jaws is not a physical mechanism at all. Instead, it is a mental tenacity. A good example would be of a dog playing tug-of-war, which is not a good game to play as it can damage growing puppy's jaws, and while it doesn't make a dog aggressive, it can enforce bad behavior such as resource guarding. Also, it can result in children, or even adults, accidentally getting harmed. Once they've grabbed on, they won't want to let go as they are determined to win. It is important to know that pit bull breed dogs are far from being the breed with the strongest bite force. The American Bulldog, a common bully breed classified as a pit bull, only has a bite force of 305 psi, while the Kangal Shepherd holds the record of strongest bite force, coming in at a total of 743 psi. To put this into perspective, a hyena, one of the animals with the top 10 strongest bite forces in the world, is just pulling ahead with a measurement of 1,100 psi. That's only a 357 psi difference. Meanwhile, that's a difference of 795 psi between a pit bull and a hyena. Want proof, evidence, scientific research? Keep watching to hear me interview rescues, veterinarians, dog trainers, first-time pit bull owners, and a few people with degrees in zoology, the study of animal behaviors, to find out why pit bulls are, in fact, kind dogs that deserve to be loved as much as any other. Unfortunately, pit bulls have gained a negative representation over the years that's been detrimental to their image. Previously, I quickly stated why many myths were false. Here, I'm going to back that information up with research and evidence. I'll be interviewing a wide variety of people who will help me create a better world for pit bulls to live in. Let's start with the term pit bull itself. The pit comes from the pit people in 1830s England put rats in, preventing their escape during ratting, a sport where dogs would enter the pit to see whose dog could kill the most rats the fastest. The bull comes from bulldogs. In the early 1800s, bulldogs were used in a vicious blood sport known as bull baiting. This was an entertainment source for the struggling classes who needed relief from their daily hardships. While you may imagine these dogs to be aggressive already, they were specifically bred to have bite inhibition towards their handlers to prevent injury to either party, even when involved in dogfighting. Before the American Civil War, pit bulls began to take on a different role. They were used for herding and guarding livestock and families against thieves and wild animals. Soon, they were seen as working-class companions instead of fighting dogs. During both World Wars, the pit bull became the nation's mascot. Sergeant Stubby, a pit bull, was the most decorated of the first war dogs. He served 18 months on the front lines in 17 battles and 4 campaigns. Back at home, these dogs became popular for use in commercial advertisements, company logos, and in popular television shows. However, things began to take a negative turn for pit bulls when Congress amended the Animal Welfare Act of 1966, which made dogfighting illegal in all 50 states, as well as the District of Columbia, Guam, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. But as goes, what becomes illegal often attracts the attention of criminals. Criminals began to seek out pit bulls and force them to fit a role they were never designed to play. They became guard and protection dogs and forced to participate in underground fighting rings. The demand for these dogs led to backyard breeding without concern for temperament or socialization, leading them to become associated with poverty and crime. To make matters worse, Time magazine published, quote, The Pitbull Friend and Killer, end quote, in 1987, followed by Sports Illustrated's stereotypical pitbull image on the issue, quote, Beware this dog, end quote. Media began to blow the underground fighting rings and badly bred dogs out of proportion, destroying the breed's reputation. The information I'm about to read from you is from zoologist Brittany Dockery. There is no recognized pit bull breed. The American Staffordshire Terrier is the only one recognized by the AKC. In the UK, they have the Staffordshire Terrier as a recognized breed. Many dogs labeled as pit bulls are simply mixes of staffies and other bully breeds, or not bullies at all. Instead, they're dogs with big, blocky heads that may be related to mastiffs or other large-headed breeds. Without genetic testing, you cannot know a pit bull is actually a bully breed just by looking. Even shelter workers only get it between 33% and 75% of the time. Similar studies have shown low numbers in correctly identifying pit bulls by looks alone. The locking jaws thing has been around for ages and is painfully untrue. No dog has locking jaws, and no breed has the ability to lock their jaws. Similarly, their bite force is not actually any stronger than other dogs. Most studies cite that it is on par or slightly less than the German Shepherds. Most of the facts about bite forces of pitties being stronger use incorrect or outdated info. The two above points and the fact that there is no requirement on correctly reporting the truth on bites and breeds leads to pit bulls being disproportionately misrepresented on bite statistics. A few groups have tried to remedy this, but even when dogs are tested for DNA, the initial report has already hit the media, news, social, etc., and it's hard to walk people back to the info for the actual facts. Only about 17% of dog bites receive medical attention, and most never cause serious injury. The risk of dying from a dog bite is approximately 1 in 10 million a year. The increase in the reporting of dog bites correlates directly with the increase of the amount of dogs in homes. Studies of all reports of dog bites that occurred in Pittsburgh during the summer of 1958 showed that from 947 incidents, children were the most common victim of dog bites, especially children between the ages of 5 and 9. Over 3/4 of the bites were inflicted on extremities. When bites occurred on the neck, head, or face, the victim was usually a small child whose height is similar to the dog's. 83% were bitten near or on the property where the dog lived. 1/3 of the incidents seemingly unprovoked. The other 2/3 were when the victim was physically interacting with the dog, petting it, or deliberately goading it. The same study noted it was not possible to single out an individual breed as being particularly vicious. No relationship between the dog's behavior toward other dogs and their behavior towards people was found. They found that the human factors surrounding the events could easily be controlled, and rather than placing the characteristics and behavior on the biting dogs, careful supervision of dog and children interactions could lead to reduction in bite-related incidents. The AKC breed standard for American Staffordshires has the temperament standards for the breed as loyal, courageous, friendly, and devoted. Pit bulls put through the American Temperament Society have a pass rate of 86%, slightly higher than the Golden Retriever. Also, failing the temperament test does not equate with aggressiveness. Dogs have been known to fail for being nervous or uncomfortable. Like all dogs, pit bulls should be met where they are with training and lifestyles. Many are willing couch potatoes, many are excellent at scent sports, agility, and other dog sports, and given the right environment will be excellent companions. The answers on screen now are from Emily, who is a pit bull owner. The answers you see on screen now are from Alyssa Park, who is both an owner and a vet tech. This interview is from Terry, a longtime owner and rescuer of pit bull-like breeds. How many pit bulls do you see that are aggressive rather than untrained?
I would guess the ones that I see, 90+% are just untrained. I don't ever recall seeing an aggressive pit bull, but maybe I have. But
all right.
The biggest problem is not training with any dog, really.
Mm-hmm. In your experience, is aggression there from birth, or is it dependent on environmental factors?
I think, like with humans, it can be either. And I do also think in this current state that most of it is, like if you ask nature versus nurture, most of it is nurture, and people either a lack of knowledge or information to properly train, or willfully trying to make aggressive dogs. Mm-hmm. Right, and if you want further information, just ask me.
Okay.
I'll try not to blabber on too long.
No, any information is helpful here. And if you've met any, what breeds have been used as bait dogs in dog fighting?
Oh my gosh. Any of the bully breeds, of which, the Staffordshire Terriers, the American Pitbull, any of those, the four, and I'm drawing a blank on the other two names, but boxers have been used. probably almost any of the bully breeds, but in boxer rescue, we saw a lot of dogs come in with scarring that looked as if they had been used as bait dogs, or like tape around the mouth or stuff like that. So really almost any dog can be, but I would say boxers and the bully breeds are probably the most common.
Unfortunate. I remember Rusty, he had a scar. I know it wasn't dog fighting, but he was definitely left in the yard. That was unfortunate.
Yeah. You
so
see
sweet.
a lot of that too, yeah.
All right. Do you see more aggressive pit bulls than other dog breeds?
No. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think they get the bad rap, but I don't think they're made by numbers. No.
Yeah. Okay.
And you know what? A lot of this, if you do it based on like the number of dogs that are out there,
mm-hmm.
you know, like as a population percentage, I wouldn't say. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
There may be more numbers that you see with, let's say, pit bulls, but I will tell you the dog trainer that we go to now,
mm-hmm.
he sees more problems with doodles.
Yep, doodles and the little dogs.
There's so many of them,
mm-hmm.
and they're just. So anyway, that's just you know, as a percentage, definitely not more likely. As a percentage, Chihuahuas are the most likely to bite.
Oh yeah. So some of the videos you see of like Chihuahuas online, I'm like, how is that little dog filled with such aggression?
Yeah.
Did you have any hesitations about bringing a bully breed into your home?
None. And now I've got the 120-pound one, so I don't know. I mean, he's got the short face. I don't know if he's technically a bully or not, but I don't.
Yeah. How does your bully breed, or how did your bully breed interact with your family?
Fabulously. Actually, Jasper was, we always said his EQ was off the charts. He was so empathetic with people. He would go to the person that was most in need of comforting, and
mm-hmm.
he would just instinctively know that. So he was amazing with all people. Moose, if you want to include him in a bully breed, he is phenomenal with any age, any person.
Yeah. What did you previously believe, if anything, to be true that was proven false?
I don't know that I really had any preconceived notions. And I probably told you this last time, but I looked when it was getting so common that, everyone was talking about how aggressive pit bulls were. I did it looking at it from the other side. Like, what does the other side say? Why are they saying that they're aggressive? And I looked at it and I go, what they're saying is not true. And it doesn't faze me.
Mm-hmm.
I am much more, what was your question again? Make sure I'm answering.
If you had any beliefs, like, that they were prone to aggression or always evil or something like that.
No, and I don't know if it has morphed over time or if it was always this way, but I always, if I think that a dog might have an issue, I look at the owner. And
mm-hmm.
if the owner looks irresponsible, then I'm concerned about the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, when I would go to the dog park, there was a lady that brought 2 pit bulls,
mm-hmm.
and she didn't watch them.
Oh.
And they would like wreak havoc on the dog park. People left. But it wasn't really, it was the owner allowing the dog.
Mm-hmm.
The dogs were not trained well. So that was my preconceived notion, and it's been proven true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that owners are the majority of the problem.
I've definitely seen that to be the case. I've seen
mm-hmm.
very few instances where there is dog aggression based on trauma or something of that sort, rather than just simply not being trained and being allowed to continue the bad habits.
Right. Like, I didn't know.
Yep.
And it actually happened with this. I heard about it. It wasn't someone that I knew in boxer rescue, but one of the executive board had to go to court because she was trying to help someone who had gotten a rescue, but he let someone that shouldn't have had the dog walk the dog, and the dog ended up biting someone badly on the arm, and the dog was taken away and put down.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. All right, and then I'm just going to ask one more question. Do genetics have anything to do with the dog's aggression or breeding of the sorts, something like that?
Okay, do dog genetics. Yes and no. If a dog is deemed to be aggressive, that dog should not be bred because there is a chance that there is something in the genes, and we can't rule out genetics. But as a rule, I wouldn't say that any breed is genetically predisposed to being aggressive.
Okay. And then I guess this one kind of goes hand in hand. Does environment play a role in a dog's temperament?
A huge role.
This interview is from Brooke, a new first-time Pitbull owner. So the first question I have is, did you have any hesitations about bringing a Pitbull into your home?
Yes, absolutely. We did. It's not something we wanted to do at all. But, it was very important for us to rescue a dog rather than purchasing a dog that was breeded. No judgment to anybody else, but that was an important value that we had when we were looking for a dog. And because we were so set on rescuing, you don't fully know what you're going to get when you do finally find a dog at a rescue, because they're mixed with who knows what, and there's usually not very much background on the dog. We could tell from the way that Zara looked that she was at least part pit, and come to find out from our vet that the vast majority of rescues in the state of Georgia have at least some pit in them, which we didn't know when we were looking for a dog. But the reason that we didn't want a pit was for fear of the dog harming our children. We have 2 children. Fear of the dog harming any guests in our home. Fear of the dog harming other dogs. And that's one reason I sent you a few pictures at your request, and one reason I sent you the picture of Dara with our other dog, Huxley, was because she loves other dogs. Huxley actually doesn't like other dogs very much, but Zara actually loves dogs. I've never seen Zara meet a dog that she doesn't love. So it's kind of ironic that, one of my fears was that, a pit bull might be aggressive towards other dogs, because she is the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, you never know when you get a rescue dog. Some of them love dogs, some of them, they're just like people, they each have their own personality.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then my second question is, how does your pitty interact with your family, with whether that be spouse, relatives, children?
How does Zara interact?
Yes.
She with our family, she's very comfortable with our family. I will say the one thing she does that I wish she wouldn't do to us and other people is that she will growl when she's happy. So, for example, if I come home from work, or my husband comes home from work, or Marissa or Mason come home from school or practice or whatever, she's happy. So she'll greet us. She'll come to where we are coming in the house, and her tail is wagging. But she also will growl, but it's not like a aggressive growl per se, because it's just kind of like like I'm happy to see you, play with me type of thing. But it makes me nervous when she does that to guests in our home, because they don't know that that is like actually a sign that she's happy someone is there, rather than, going to be aggressive towards them. So anyway, but she's very friendly with everybody. Of course, we got her as a puppy, and now she's 4, so she's still young, but she is not as, she used to be a little bit more, jumpy and stuff like that, which is typical puppy behavior. So, she definitely wants to check everybody out, and she's sweet. She likes to cuddle, but she's very active. She loves to be, as much as she loves people, she loves to be with other dogs and to be in her yard, guarding her backyard. We have a fenced-in yard, and if she could be outside all the time, I think she would. In fact, we have a trouble getting her to come inside sometimes. So she's a very active dog. Unfortunately, she's having some hip and knee problems, and we've tried several different medications and supplements and a special food, and our vet just recommended a different medication because she's not moving as well as she used to, and she's quite young at age 4. So we are concerned, but we can't take her to dog parks like we used to, and we used to take her to daycare because she loved playing with other dogs so much, but she can't be as active as she wants to be, or it's not good for her, I should say. She still, even though she's kind of limpid and whatnot, she still wants to run and play, but we have to hold her back from that because it's not safe for her per our vet guidance.
Yeah, sometimes they don't listen, much like we do, They're like, well, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and you've answered this a little bit, but if you have any more to say, I would love to hear it. Has your dog ever displayed the, quote, aggression that pit bulls are supposedly prone to have?
No, I don't believe that she ever has. Like I said, she has this little play growl thing, but she has never attacked another dog. She's never attacked a person, never bitten anyone, not even given any signs that she might do either of those things. So she's nothing like that at all.
Okay. And what did you previously believe to be true that was proven false?
That if we adopted a dog that was pit or even part pit, that we would experience aggression towards ourselves or towards other friends, family members, or towards other dogs. Like I thought we probably wouldn't be able to board the dog, for example, or go to dog parks or things like that. And we've been able to do all of those things because none of that is true.
All right. How does your dog compare to other breeds you've owned?
Well, as an adult, I've only owned one other dog, Huxley, and he is also a rescue, and we are not quite sure what all he is, but he doesn't look like Pit at all. But he is rescued in Georgia, so there might be some Pit in him potentially. But I gotta say, ironically, she is much more friendly to dogs than Huxley is. In fact, we can't take Huxley to dog parks, or we used to go to this daycare that is called Little's Playhouse here in Marietta, and I liked it a lot because they allow the dog to free play, and they don't, cage isn't the right word, but that, what do you call,
I would call it a kennel.
Yes, kennel. They don't, it's a kennel, I'm sorry, I couldn't think of the word.
It's all right.
Kennel, it was a kennel-free place that we could board the dogs, and I liked that, because I know people love crating, and they say it's good for them, and blah, 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 blah. We tried that for a little while with our dogs, and it did not work very well. We're not, it's personal preference, but we're not huge fans of crating, especially crating the amount of time we might have to crate our dogs. So, so I liked the kennel-free boarding because they wouldn't be placed in a crate, which they're not used to. And so the problem is Huxley actually is the one who attacked another dog, and it actually happened twice, 1 year apart. And so we're not sure why, because it gave no signs, and of course I wasn't there. But the owner of the place assured me that there are zero signs that Huxley is getting ready to do something like that both times, but that the dogs looked similar. And so I think perhaps before we rescued Huxley, maybe he might have been attacked by a dog that was that color and that size, because he didn't attack the same dog both times, but the dogs were similar in size and color and personality, apparently, according to the owner. So anyway, this is my long way of saying, ironically, the dog that we adopted that is not Pit, as far as we know, is the one who actually was aggressive towards other dogs when I would have thought the opposite.
Okay. And then the final question I have for you, which you've answered, but you're welcome to say again. Does your pit bull get along with your other pets?
Yes, absolutely.
Unfortunately, pit bulls are often portrayed as bad guys, especially in Disney movies, which are visible both nationally and internationally. An example would be in Lady and the Tramp 2, which features the main antagonist Buster, a Doberman/Rottweiler mix, along with secondary antagonist Reggie, a Bull Mastiff/Bulldog mix. Scientific research shows the breed has nothing to do with the dog's aggression levels. Tests by the American Temperament Testing Society show pit bull type dogs achieve rates as good as or higher than most breeds of dogs. TikTok videos, visible to thousands across the world, show how uneducated the population is about pit bulls. Videos entitled, "What I Expected versus What I Got When Getting a Pit Bull" start by showing the stereotypical bulky, muscular, broad-shouldered, aggressive pit bull breeds before switching to a pit bull mix goofily rolling around on the floor. YouTube channel Zusi the Pitty displays reality of ownership versus the media portrayal of pit bulls. Zusi the Pitty's videos include the life of a sweet pit bull rescue named Zusi getting up to silly antics. The negative impact of pit bulls, while improving in some areas, is a slow process. Colorado just removed a 30-year-old ban on pit bull ownership in 2020. Prohibition had stated that it was illegal to own one of these breeds in the state of Colorado. I found out about this upcoming removal during my 2019 visit to Colorado. Because of this law, pit bulls filled shelters to the brim, many of whom were harmless and wanted to interact with people. I saw this firsthand when I visited a shelter in 2019. However, during that same visit, I saw a young boy with his father and a large pit bull. They came in, and I started to talk with them. The father said no, they weren't giving out the pit bull, but instead were there to ask for information about something else. He said that his son and the dog had a special bond, and that the pit bull helped bring out his son's confidence. The boy hugged his dog, who wagged his tail and quietly stood there, completely calm and happy. Overall, pit bulls are no different than any other dog. While many have been irresponsibly bred, the same can be said for any breed. A dog's temperament and disposition, yes, may be due in part to genetics, but mostly is up to the owner. An unsocialized and untrained dog poses the greatest threat. No dog is inherently evil. Pit bulls have had a negative representation through media, and in order to combat these myths and cruel lies, we must share factual information and educate those who may not know how kind these dogs can really be. Pit bulls are fantastic dogs, whether to be used as a family friend or a farmhand companion. Ultimately, it is up to us to decide the fate of these dogs, and I hope you help create a better world for them.